measure of the common man. No deeds to share, gifts to compare. When all I have, it rests on ticking hands. I have my ways, descent delayed, and I have tried to make you see a brighter hue. But deep down I know I'll be forever blue. And there's a blackness inside me that's breaking through. But deep down I know I'll be forever blue. Forever blue. Nobody wants to learn a thing these days. An endless coil of waste and toil. Empires are built upon the ashes. Hey, what's going on, everybody? So we are starting our stream today. We're actually going to dual stream, and we're going to do that with Zach. So let's go ahead, and I should actually drop a link or set up some text so people know where to go. Let's see, it should be in here. And we'll set this up as a multi-stream. And maybe not that big. Maybe not that small. See how that is. That'll work. So we can drop that down here. And if you guys go ahead and go to the link down at the bottom, or type in the link down at the bottom, then you'll be able to see Zach's channel and my channel at the same time. So I need to turn on Touch Portal here. Professional streamer. All right, there we go. Cool, and everything looks to be working properly. So we have that set up. I'm going to go ahead and drop that over here. Okay, so we should be all set. And let me switch back over to Discord. Zach, you there? All right, cool. I just want to make sure that I can hear you here. So let me pause the music. Okay, go ahead and say something so I can make sure it's popping up. Okay, I don't think that it's actually coming out of that.
Let's see. Advanced audio properties. How did I set that up before? Because that's coming through Pretzel Rocks. Are you on this my stream? Can you hear yourself? I don't believe you are. Okay. Yeah, I don't believe that you would hear it at the moment. Audio. Yeah, desktop audio. I show you audio capture. Okay, now try. Interesting. That's not showing up. Multi-output device. Let's see. Yeah, it should actually monitor and output. Okay, try now. Are you there? Zach? Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Um, Try one more time, I guess. Say something. Yeah, it's not. Device. I show you audio capture, which that should be working. It should be coming in advanced. Technical difficulties. So actually, I think I might know what's going on. Monitoring device, multi-output. Okay,
Okay,
there we
there
are.
we are.
Try to say
Try to say
something.
something.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay.
Okay.
Monitoring.
Monitoring.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not
not
sure.
sure.
Because the
Because the
monitoring
monitoring
device
device
is
is
actually
actually
set
set
up
up
to
to
go
go
through
through
the
the
I
I
show
show
you.
you.
If I set it up for the multi-output, built-in output, default, so I had that set up to source nexus. Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay. Let me test to make sure. Okay. So that's coming through there. All right. And that's coming through. That's all right. Yeah, now it's default. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just turn monitoring off for that one. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out why this isn't picking up the audio from Discord. The multi-stream should be working. So let me check the settings here. It's an audio. Output device. That's why. Output device. Okay, now try it.
How's it going?
Hey, there you are.
Hey, there we go.
Yes, sir.
I just got to remember I have to hit control so I can actually talk.
Yeah, the issue was actually I was going through and I had the output from what do you call it? I had the output from Discord going to my headset. So instead of having it go to I show you, so let's see, input device, there we go. Is that input device better?
You sound a little better.
Okay. Yeah, because it was actually it was going through my headset.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So when it was going through the headset, it was actually coming through the headset microphone and the headset speakers. So I had to set up Discord a little bit different to where it was the input device of the G-Track Pro and then the output device of the multi-output, which allows you to be heard on stream.
Awesome. That's good that you're able to figure it out, though.
Yeah, a little pain in the butt, but we're all good. So let's see. Noise suppression, higher quality. And I may set the threshold a little bit higher. Alright, there we go. Okay, so back to our discussion.
So we give you guys a little bit of clarification. We've kind of been working a little bit together on 939 a little bit with this fan art piece here. And for me, every time, like I tend to have this issue whenever I come to play or come to work on something that I come back to working on something after a little bit of a break. I tend to see issues with it, or I have problems with the design that I'm like, I need to do something different. Like something with it is not working, right? And for me, a lot of it comes down to sometimes it's how I have it posed. Sometimes it's the design in general, stuff like that. And with 939, I've been following the description of the creature a little too much, and it causes me a little bit of lack in what I can create, what I can creatively make with the description and what I'm thinking of. And when I was talking with my girlfriend the other day, I was trying to theory craft on ideas of like what this thing could look like, how it could move, stuff like that. Instead of looking at the description, just think of this is a quadruped creature that's blind. It lives in caves. It doesn't necessarily need to chase food because it just comes to it because of the gas that it releases. I'm imagining this thing almost being similar to that of like walking almost like a crocodile to an extent, how it's big and lumbering, moving side, kind of like waddling to an extent, That's how I envision it moving because it can't see. Another thing is also similar to like moles and shrews because they also don't have eyes. Well, shrews do, but moles do not. Can't see. They're completely blind. They have their tentacles or their mandible, whatever the hell you want to call them, their little feelers that they have on the front of their mouth. That's how they're able to see and dig and all that shit. It's ways that they can move underground and shit. And it got me thinking, like, what if I try incorporating something, aesthetics of blind animals that we have into this design, make it something that makes sense for the aspect of a creature that lives in dens and doesn't necessarily hunt.
Yeah, and I think on that, kind of that concept that you're thinking is take those ideas as far as like the details of what the character sounds like, and don't focus so heavily on the details.
Right.
Because focusing on, specifics like, okay, the character's bright red. Well, that's going to look terrible.
Which me and you kind of already figured out the last time we streamed together. We actually figured out some ways around that to make it be more believable. Right. So we kind of worked around that.
And I think that's something that really is going to have to, be a little give and take.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going through and setting up some stuff here for this stream. But I think that definitely, that's, we would really need to explore that. As far as the look of the character, take a few things in particular. Like, what's the character look like? Is the character, tall? Is it big? Is it small? Is it like 2 feet tall? Things like that.
Right.
And really kind of,
that's kind of what I was thinking on, like, and I was even thinking that too when I was thinking of the actual design process of it, because the main aesthetics that I want to keep are obviously the eyes on the back, the thermal ports, and the spines.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really the only aspects of the character that need to be there. Everything else is, and well, obviously it's quadrupedal.
Yeah.
Everything else is pretty much fair game on like overall design. There is a height that they do specify in the description, but it's not a actual height measurement. It's based on the creature if it was standing up, not on all fours. An animal standing up and being on all fours is completely different.
Yeah.
Imagine a bear. A bear standing up is about 7-8 feet tall, something like that, roughly. They're slightly taller than a human. And then when they're on all fours, it's a
gonna work. The idea was there.
Right.
Yeah, no inception.
So we could do that. We could do this right here for the collaboration, so you guys can actually have the collaboration screen. I still don't have a background for the collaboration screen. I need to do something for it. I just threw a part of my wallpaper that I have and I just shrunk it all the way up, and there you go. That's my background for that. So that's pretty much what I got going right now.
Yeah, I was setting everything up for the chat and stuff.
But yeah, what I got on screen are like the 3 main poses of like what I'm thinking of how it could stand.
Right.
Obviously, the second one here is the original pose of it standing on all fours upright. At full extension with its legs. And then 2 and 3 is like just a little bit more of an actual pose. The third one does have a little bit of some body proportion designs different because of the way I was pushing and pulling. But yeah, a lot of it's gonna just be changed on that aspect. So like Peter was mentioning that something that we could do is rig it up in Blender and then be it would allow us to do. People are messaging me on my phone. Jesus. But then it would allow us to do sculpting while you're able to its pose and everything else. You know what I mean? So that's what. But he can go in a little bit more detail about it for you guys. So. Hey, Common, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm just kind of putting the multi-stream information up here and what we're doing. There.
Yeah, what is that, by the way, so I can actually get that on there? I'll add the link for that.
It's just multitwitch.tv /your name and / my name.
Oh, wait, I got it.
And then I'll go ahead and minimize
Oh, it's gigantic.
I can see my chat here.
Sarah also posted it in the chat as well.
All right, cool.
I lost it.
So yeah, I mean, overall, I think that's a good idea as far as, you know, taking some of the basic ideas. You know, something that kind of bothers me with 939 is, like, when I think of Cave Dweller, I don't need that one.
Oh, Jesus.
There's a layer. Add another layer here. So when I was thinking of 939,
there. Now we got it on the screen for you guys.
I was thinking, you know, kind of, let's see. And I probably should have the Cintiq over here instead of my tablet. Excuse me, my tablet.
Yeah, I can pull up my Photoshop as well, so I can.
So I'm just kind of noodling a couple ideas. Let's see. So if we had I'm just trying to think of shapes.
yeah, here's the original one. So I'll just keep this one up for now. We can just work on this for a bit. But yeah. Basically, what I did was to do a little bit of my posing of what I had already. What I did was I basically cut the character apart into different shapes, and that allowed me to just pose it the way I wanted, based on my anatomy I already created. So kind of helped a little bit. But like a lot of the things that I'm thinking of with this creature, actually going back to what I was before to a thing I was going to bring up before we started streaming. I watched a live, not really a live stream, a video from Aaron Blaze the other day. It was a video for his character design course that he recently released. It was just basically a small, like a good 45-minute snippet of one of his of that particular course, and one of the parts on there was pushing your design. And as I was watching it, you know, he did 3 bear designs. He did one of a big fat bear, you know, kind of one that you would typically think of like a what's a good example? The fat polar bear from Balto, you know, the kind of like that. He kind of drew one similar to that. He drew a big mean bear, like it looked just overly menacing, looked really good for like a villain character. And then did another one where it was more of a younger bear that was a little bit slimmer. He was smaller, completely different in shape profile. And one of the things he was, you know, he talked about was like, you know, really think about your shapes, really think about your forms. You know, sometimes, you know, emoting how your character is going to be. Like, if you're going to make a more big mean bear, for example, the way he explained it was like, for his big mean bear, he's like, you know, maybe just making those expressions, you know, getting into the character, like really thinking like, how is this character going to be designed? You know, like, you know, just thinking in your head like, I'm this just
how's that going?
Monstrous, you know? And he was literally grunting. He was literally like, as he's grunting, as he was painting, he was literally like, and like doing all that kind of stuff, just getting into character. And I tend to do that sometimes when I'm like thinking of other character designs. Is I do that. Like I tend to think like that when I'm creating, when I'm imagining characters. And when I was thinking of this one, as I was watching the video, I was thinking of whole different designs for the character, like completely different shape language, posing as well, and like stuff like that. Like I was thinking of like, let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can like redesign it into a completely different character. And when I was thinking about all that stuff, I was like, I want to redesign it. Like I'm going too much, like you said, like focusing too much on these different details that it kind of limits you in what you can actually do creatively, instead of just doing it free form and just letting it flow.
Right.
You know, when I created my Drake, a lot of that came from just exploring, and it had a lot of experimentation. You know, that was an original character that I made. You know, when I was doing the shark, same thing. Even though that one was based off a concept, I was still freeform. You know, this is what a shark should look like, but I need, like, these are the forms of a shark, but how do I caricature it based on the anatomy of what is shown in this design? How do I do that? And like I was thinking of, you know, in my head, I'm looking, you know, as I was designing the shark and I was making it, I wasn't really like struggling on that shark. Like I was like looking at it, was like, okay, this jaw is too far forward. I need to slim it up. The top of the head isn't flat enough, or it's not round enough to what I need to do. Like I wasn't thinking about, man, this doesn't look right. You know, like I had moments where as I come back to in a sketch on, I was like, that doesn't look like a shark. You know, certain proportions of it, like the jaws and stuff like that. It's like, that's not shark jaws. That does not look right. And then once I
Right.
started getting things in the right positions and the right proportions, then it started coming out. I was like, okay, this is the right direction.
Yeah, something that
And
I'm kind of thinking is taking something similar to this. I mean, obviously, you'd have like the other hand down here or something.
mhm.
And again, this is like just noodling. But
Mhm.
I'm thinking about like the eyes. So if you had those, you know, obviously they're gonna have like the connection in the back, and you know it's gonna come up. So to connect, you'll have.
Oh, so you were envisioning like actual eyeballs like protruding off of the back.
Well, I'm thinking like with that, you know, anything blind is going to be cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
That's
kind of how I envisioned. That's how I kind of saw the eyes too. Was more of that cloudy white kind of gray color.
So it's basically I mean it was pretty much human at one point. So
Yeah.
and then it morphed into this. So what was it? Yeah, that was it. So we'll take that. Put that over there. So basically, I was thinking about and I'll have to adjust as far as the drawing goes.
No, you're good. I'm actually
Fix
picking up
that.
some images real quick. Actually, give me 1 second. I gotta mention something.
So what I'm thinking is, as far as a close-up of the eye, I know he kind of slipped away here for a second.
Oh, I'm right here. I can see it.
Oh, okay. So what I was thinking was kind of build kind of an eye for him
pretty damn good eye. Gotta say.
Thanks, man. The guy that taught me how to do this, it was an old army buddy. Way down.
Oh, that sucks that HBO Max isn't available in Canada. That blows. And you guys really missed out. That really sucks.
So I was thinking kind of take it. Wait. So have something kind of like this, but then you'll take, make sure we have some white here. Of course, you so kind of something like that. That's kind of the idea that I was thinking.
Right. I did not start over, but I'm in the process of doing it, yes. I'm kind of thinking about rethinking the design again, because I was focusing too much on the details of 939 that I didn't really like about the character. So I'm just gonna do it in a way that would make sense for myself, I guess, is the best way to think about it. Me and Peter are going to be collaborating on this a little bit, just trying to figure out like, what we can do with the design and shit like that.
But yeah, I think if you even bring the eyes, like the eyelids, down a little bit. And then you could take something like that and see, select, is there a flip? Feather smooth. There's no flip.
So flip horizontal?
Yeah, I was looking to see if there was a paste flip, which that's fine. We don't necessarily need it. So I'll take there, it's flipped.
Actually, I'm gonna take one of these teeth and I'm gonna scrape that out.
So then I can merge that down.
Do I have? No, wait. I might actually have one of them. Perfect. That's not a tooth I want to use. That's what I'm going to use.
Stumble from the ashes, lost enigmas in the dust. I cannot remember, though they tell me that
Okay,
I must.
so we're going to take this.
Will not drag me under, climb out of the grave. Make a sign or faults divine, this mark of worth.
So if I took it this direction,
Hard and are these faithful scars are there. Stand side by side, carry all as one. We can bear this weight. Stand side by side, we won't come undone. For the hands that will carry us home are touched by fate. Hold on to what you strive.
and then
Hold on to what you fight for. Get up and fight.
So what do you think about this concept?
It's an interesting idea. The only issue I have is it's too humanoid.
Well, I mean, that can change.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it did evolve from human.
That is true. It does kind of evolve to an extent from humans, yes.
So, I mean, that gives us a lot of freedom right there.
But the thing is, it's more in the line of like a werewolf type of deal, with how it goes from a human to its final form, essentially.
Well, and with that, that's actually perfect. Because if you look at the nose, yeah, it's kind of taken that transition.
Six. So we're just gonna carve out some of this stuff here.
Rank alleys with the stink of decay. Stamped down under boots of the company. Slave spirit, propagate and obey. Trust up in the hog ties of industry. Live to produce and produce to consume.
So yeah, I think taking it kind of like a almost human, but still being able to, you know, drop it towards an animal too. And that's kind of why I'm, yeah, pushing it this direction. So then we can add another.
Oh, I just created two of these guys.
Sweet. Doodling on the wrong one here.
Turn this off. A fucking piece of crap. That, turn this off, move this over, put it back on. I just put them in place and then I will work it around. Get this again. Turn this on. Rotate it around. Here. Oh no, I don't have Pretzel Rock on. Thank you for reminding me, Sarah. Sorry about that. There we go. Now we got it playing.
Man, I haven't sat and drawn in forever.
I know, same. Like, I feel like my skills for drawing have just diminished so badly.
Dude, I know the feeling.
When you focus on 3D so much, you kind of... you kind of have those moments of, like, you can't focus on another thing.
Yeah, it's
sucks.
like, do I know how to draw?
Right? Like, when I was in school, I had that problem a lot. Like, I would have moments where I'm over here drawing for my early classes and then start doing all 3D, and then I'm like, crap, no, I can't fucking draw anymore. Like, it's not really that I can't draw anymore, it's just I lost practice. I haven't been practicing, so
Right.
that's the reality of it. Okay.
But I think going like somewhat human, you know, especially where it evolved from that.
That was one of my ideas. Like, I wanted to try to find a way to incorporate... Well, it's kind of why a lot of the design, like the body proportions more than anything, are what match humanity, essentially.
Right.
You know, a lot of the reason it doesn't look human is because it literally, like... Why does this keep fucking up, dude? Jesus. It's pissing me off.
I'm kind of playing with the ears too.
But anyway, but like when it changes from its humanoid form to the 939 form, it literally like rips its body apart. Like it rips its flesh and all of that apart too.
Why didn't you tell me this before? You do realize that's an important part, right?
Yeah, that's my bad. That's my bad. But yeah, well, that's kind of why I said lycanthropy. That's why I said like a werewolf. But yeah, like it basically rips its head literally falls off. Like it's one of the descriptions in there is the human head falls off and then it eats the head or whatever. Don't know where the new head comes from because it's not.
Dude, you're killing me.
Sorry. Sorry, it's my bad.
Like, all of these are so, like, important details.
I am sorry. Oh, god damn it.
So, yeah, I mean, these are, like, incredibly important.
Yeah, sorry about that. That's my bad.
Because just by those two little details, that totally changes, like, the idea that I had. Hey, Taldon, what's going on, man? Good to see you. We're actually just kind of messing around with what I thought was 939 concept art, but you know, based on the description, it's no longer.
I'm sorry. That's my bad. That's entirely my bad. Sarah, can you give me the link for 939? If you can, please.
So yeah, he basically forgot to mention like some major details. You know, not that they're important, you know, because you know they're not major. They're just
Thank you.
major parts of it. You know, I had to give you a hard time.
There you go. Yeah, it's definitely deserving. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I'm not going to deny that.
It was definitely deserving for sure. That's my bad.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, basically, I was going through and I was coming up with this concept art, and I need to. Apparently, my dog was asleep. But there we go. Okay, but yeah, so I was just doodling out some ideas as far as what this character could be. I think, you know, it does transform, so this isn't like a total loss. Yeah, it does need a head to work off of.
Right.
Because, you know, it needs to get a head. Get it? Get a head?
Mm-hmm.
Really bad joke.
Say, of course you did it right then and there.
Absolutely terrible joke.
My little brother told me a really bad dad joke this morning. Oh my god. Sarah would get a kick out of it. To be honest, I don't even remember what it was.
Dude, that was like a horrible lead-in to like nothing. Come on now.
I tend to not remember really bad puns because I deal with it on a daily basis from Sarah. I don't like pun jokes. They're just like
Punny?
dad jokes. Yeah, they're just so bad. Like that's the whole point of dad jokes, though. But like for me, it's like the cringe of it just it bugs me.
Oh, you're all good, Talman. But no, I think like, you know, for the character itself, you know, if we took something similar to this head, because with the jaw closed, it would put the mouth right about there. And it would give like that almost alienish look.
Yeah, so here, let me read you the description of it so you have a better idea.
You know, I'm gonna forget it in like 3 seconds.
That's true. But yeah. 9 through 9 are endothermic pack-based predators, which display atrophy of various systems similar to. Like, they have a lot of fucking scientific crap in here that serves no purpose. Basically, they live in a pack. Their skin is red, or has hues of red. It's permeable to moisture and translucent red hewing, kind of similar to that of blood. On average, it stands 2.2 meters tall, which is roughly around 7 feet.
Thank you.
Each of their 4 limbs end in 3 fingers and a thumb. And a thumb-like appendage, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Their heads are elongated, devoid of even vestigial eyes or eye sockets, and contain no brain casing. The jaws are lined with red, faintly luminescent, fang-like teeth, similar to viperfish, that are roughly 6 centimeters long, and encircled by heat-sensitive pit organs. Eye spots, sensitive to light and dark, run the length of their spined dorsal ridges. These spines may be up to 16 centimeters long and are believed to be sensitive to changes in air pressure and flow, which that makes, to an extent, airflow makes sense. Pressure, no.
Yeah. Well, what I'm thinking is something kind of along this line, but that could be like what it goes from.
Yeah, because like it's actually described here in one of the things. Where is it? I don't know where it's at, but they do bear live children that resemble humans. Like they're not 100% human. They just look human. Does not possess any vital organs, central and pulmonary nervous systems, circulatory systems, and digestive tract are all absent. Respiratory system is atrophied and serves no apparent purpose beyond spreading the gas it excretes. They have no apparent physical need to feed or no way to digest the consumed food, flesh that it eats.
So taking something, kind of along those lines, I would say for aesthetic purposes, you'd like, you could take some of it and I guess morph it, but you would have to do it from you could do it from something humanish. Like if it was like that. And then the arms would actually come down, something like that. And then, you know, you have the pose kind of like what you had. Where it would come around this way. That would be the arm. But then what you could do, I'm just kind of doing some pose ideas. But I think if you're doing something of that nature, you know, this one is a little creepier because it, you know, it has that where you could exaggerate and then you come down like that. And then that way you still keep that human-esque form.
Yeah, you and me, we're gonna light up the sky. Light up the sky. Refill a reason and wipe off the dust. Our hearts are jet fuel, it's time.
And you could still, you know, kind of even push this out a little bit. And then that would give you like the hip area. I mean, I know it doesn't have any bones, but...
No, it still has bones. It just doesn't have organs.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, none of it makes sense.
So... you could do something kind of like that. Yeah, just take, kind of like take 939, but compress it a little bit and give it more of an arc. Because if you take and you follow the spine, then the spine comes right around in a C shape, like a reverse C.
Right.
I
That's
mean,
pretty much what I have right now, but
the only thing that I would change on that design is because it's more of a triangle. I mean, if you take the head, the tail, and the peak, that's a triangle.
yeah.
I mean, I would adjust the curve on it so it kind of, you know, flows more either, you know, like that, or like it, you know, maybe comes, you know, like an S like that, you know, and then have the head kind of down. But, you know, I would basically try to adjust it to where, you know, you have more of a curve. Because when I think of things that are, you know, cave dwelling and, you know, they're supposed to be kind of lizard-esque, you know, I'm thinking, you know, something smooth, something that, you know, is able to twist and turn and, all that. So immediately I'm thinking like, snake wise, or lizard, or things along that line. And
right, exactly.
those aren't gonna have any real angles to them. They're gonna be more mushy and slithery. So that's kind of what I'm thinking from what you're explaining.
Yeah, and that's kind of where, like, with the skin texture you created, like the shader you created, that's kind of what I was thinking with that anyway. For the skin texture, like that's pretty much what I was thinking. The only other thing I couldn't really think of was like detail wise, like what is the type of skin that it's going to have? Is it going to be more full of wrinkles or what? You know what I mean? On top of the color and shading and all that stuff,
Right.
A lot of this pose that I have currently, this is kind of, I'll show you a couple of references I've that kind of made me immediately think of it. That's not what I want. Is this guy's posing that he had for his miniature, and if you scroll down to where he has his pen sketches, like his actual paints that he has for this character, his thumbnails, these are kind of like the poses I was thinking in my head as I was like, even when I was like trying to think of like movement and all that, like that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Even though it's not going to be big and lumbering like this creature is. I'll show you guys here what I'm talking about. Like this guy here.
It's supposed to be how big?
It's supposed to stand like, that's the thing. Like it says standing 7 feet tall.
Okay, so I mean, if you cut that in half, you're talking about 3.5. So maybe about 4.25, hunched over.
Yeah, because it's going to be hunched over, and I was just thinking like how that's going to work. I was trying to find ways to take an elongated form and then put it on all fours, and that was such a pain in the ass to figure out. Polar bears can get up to 8 feet tall. I didn't actually even know that. That's fucking nuts. Like the closest animal I can think of that would be roughly that size is a bear.
Moose.
Well, an animal that can stand up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bear. Grizzly, I think, is 9 feet. 9, 10 feet.
Polar bears can get up to almost 8 feet tall. 6 to 8 feet tall. That's another thing is I also actually no. Grizzlies can get up. Most grizzlies get up to 5 feet. That's not right. That doesn't sound right. Because it said brown bears. That's not right. Well, grizzlies and brown bears are technically the same. Technically. God, I hate you, National Geographic. I just want to look at something, you assholes. Like regions vary. That's why I say can, like most. Like the most common ones are about that big, but
Yeah.
Depending on the region they're from, that determines how big they get.
Yeah.
Like a typical brown bear is different from a grizzly, because a grizzly bear can get fucking huge. That did not help me any. How would I look? Like, that's the thing. How would I look up something that's...
Fight for your values and fight for your friends. Fight through this blight, find the light at the end. Through the age of the dragon, the people will talk of the day they were saved by a hero named Hawk.
That's such a pain in the ass trying to figure that out.
What's that?
Like, how do you like envision something that's 7 feet tall standing, but it's all fours? Like you said, a moose. Like a moose can get fucking huge.
Yeah,
But that's on all fours.
But you have to think, I mean, if you're 6 foot and, you know, try to get down, you know, like on the floor.
Right.
So if you get on the floor and you have your, like, you're squatting, you can get roughly about, depending on how you're squatting, you can get about half your size.
Yeah.
So if you take that and you figure, you know, this thing is walking around and whatnot, then you can go and... Hey. Hang on.
Yep. I'll be right back. I gotta send my brother downstairs.
Just a lowly refugee, your champion arrived. Round shores of Ferelden fade to Kirkwall's buzzing hive. Rose above the poverty and rose above the pain. My friend became the savior.
Okay, guys. Right, and I know that, Sarah. Like, that's the thing. Obviously, the thing, like, everything we do goes for this creature goes against all natural order. So, again, when you're doing creature design, it's got to make sense. It's got to make sense in the grand scheme of things, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's the reality of it. It's got to make sense in what you're making. Like, obviously, it's not 100% going to make sense.
All right.
spent the afternoon staring at my computer screen till I start to see the world in gray and blue and brown and green. These pixels are so simple and so beautiful and clean, and I feel good 'cause I
So I'm probably gonna jump out,
Okay.
but yeah, give some ideas as far as a direction or different directions and whatnot.
Yeah. Because, like, a lot of the thing is, like, I think the pose that I'm currently rocking right now, like, I like this pose. This actually looks nice. And I know that you mentioned that we can get to this same pose with the original. But when it comes to, but in reality, it's like I should have it in the pose it's gonna be in. You know, it's neutral pose, which this would be its neutral pose.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm liking this shape. I'm probably gonna go from this, I think. We'll see what I can do. I did like your input though. Like, you know, your input is always appreciated.
Oh, that's not a problem at all.
Like, don't get me wrong, like, a part of me wanted to think about, like, how would its humanoid form look too. So what you created, it gives me a good idea of, like, what the human, like, the babies would look like when they grow up.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, because they kind of regurgitate, like, they kind of reproduce asexually, similar to, like, Shriekers did in Tremors.
Yeah.
They would just throw up, and then there's the babies when they would have babies, essentially. And you know, they live full lives as humans, and then eventually they would have this happen. They rip themselves apart and become this thing. So,
Well, I mean, like I said, that kind of changes the direction that I was thinking.
right.
Because, I mean, if you're going to go with something like that, then I would think more toward, you know, like having bits and pieces, you know, things of that nature. You know, maybe debris, you know, and maybe like
That's kind of why the original design that I had, like the very first design I did, it had that humanoid look to it. It literally looked like a human face that was like elongated and stretched out and everything, and that's kind of where that direction was going. But the reason I changed it is because it looked too alien, like too xenomorph. I was like, okay, I got to change this. I can't do that. That looks wrong.
Well, I mean, you could, but, you know, think of the things that don't look that way that started from a base mesh.
True.
Yeah, because, like, Pyramid Head, you know, that looks totally different. You know, there's other characters that, you know, they're human-esque, but you can tell that they're not.
Right. A werewolf is another good example of that. That's kind of why I keep making the comparison to that.
Yeah, and I mean,
there's been multiple iterations of werewolves in different depictions, and multiple versions of them look completely different. Some of them look more human, some of them look more wolf, some of them look that in between, you know, like.
right.
I think the Order had like the best versions. Them and Underworld had like the best werewolf designs I've ever seen so far. But and that's kind of like, I was using the Order's werewolf as reference for like a lot of the muscle structure, where it's still that human physique, but with an animalistic design. That's why a lot of my anatomy is like that. It's still human. It's just certain parts of it are proportioned out, just depending on what's going on.
Right.
Like part of me's thinking about like hollowing out like the whole like stomach rib cage area, because it doesn't technically have any kind of organs, so why would there be any skin there? Why would there be any muscle or anything like that there,
See, I mean, the whole like idea behind it I like, but I think at the same time, there's so many things that are like anatomy wise, they're not right.
There's a lot of things clashing.
Yeah,
there's a lot. That was my biggest problem. It's like there's a lot of things clashing.
Because I mean, you can't really like say, okay, well, I'm just gonna put this here because.
Right.
And
I feel like that's what the original artist, or not the artist, the creator who wrote the story for 939 did. Is they're like, I'm just gonna throw these scientific terms out there and not really think about anatomy or any of that stuff, like how people would interpret this creature.
Yeah, because I mean, with the consideration of, okay, it has a rib cage. Well, why does it have a rib cage? Yeah, I mean, right. Why does our rib cage, not, why is it not one piece? Why is it multiple pieces that, are actually held together? And why does it expand? Why is it connected to our shoulder blades? Why do we have floating ribs? Why, like all that stuff. One thing leads into another, which, that defines how the creature, character, humanoid, whatever, actually moves.
Right, because like the way you basically what you like you just said, with our anatomy, all of our bones are set up in a certain way that makes sense for our body, right? Like you said, for the rib cage, all of our rib cage isn't just one whole solid piece. It's made up of multiple pieces that have, like, even then it also has parts of cartilage in some areas that allow it to bend and expand because of our lungs and all of that. With us, how we twist with our spine, all that shit. And plus it also serves a secondary purpose of protecting our organs in our chest. For a creature that doesn't have any vital organs, how would a chest work for that? How would a rib cage work if it doesn't actually have any organs? No. How would, how, like, that's the thing. Like, and that's the thing I keep having this discussion with Sarah about is, how do you make something that doesn't make sense make sense?
Well, and that's where you have to take, artistic direction.
Yeah.
Because even if you look at different creatures, in a book, and the explanation of that creature in a book, if it's a fictional character, once it hits screen or concept, there's different aspects of human anatomy, so it gets relayed to the viewer in a way that's believable in that world.
Right. And I'm trying to think of a good example of that.
Well, I mean, the whatever monsters, not Monster Hunter, I haven't seen that, but the one that's kind of like a Harry Potter.
Oh, Fantastic Beasts. Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that kind of does make sense, but I think a lot of with Fantastic Beasts, they were like, let's make creatures.
Well, yeah, and
I
that's
think a lot of it was just creating monsters in general.
Look at The Hobbit. There's the
yeah, that's like actually a pretty good example.
There's the orcs and like that, but they're based around human anatomy.
The wargs as well.
Yeah. And the war beasts and all that stuff. I mean, all that's based around actual anatomy. But if you look at some of the books and you really look at what they say in the book, there could be things missing.
Yeah.
Like it has by birth, it's the head is asymmetrical, and part of it looks like a fish, part of it looks like I don't know, a human, but it doesn't have any eyes. I mean, well, if it looks human, fish and humans have eyes. So taking it on that consideration, okay, what can you do story-wise to remove the eyes? They would have to be, like gone, but if you hold your fingers together or tape them together for a long period of time, the skin actually starts growing together. So you could take that approach of, okay, now this used to be something that was open, the skin has been closed for so long that
actually does happen to people, though. Right. That does happen with people, because like if they lose an eye or they have a really bad damage to their eye socket, they usually just do like a skin graft and just kind of just cover it, with skin, and it heals back over. So yeah, there's that. Yeah.
So I mean, you could go with that route, and but you would still have the underlying bone structure.
Right.
That wouldn't disappear.
And that's the thing. Like when it came to the skull, with me playing around with the skull idea, that's kind of why I like the original, the second original that I made. Because it has to have a long snout. It has to have a bunch of teeth. It's got to have. You don't need to do this, but it depends, because snakes have it. A lining of the pit sensors, which snakes do have that. If you look at pythons, their bottom jaw has that, or it has the openings. But it doesn't have any eyes, and it doesn't have a brain casing. So like when you look at a crocodile, or even an alligator, when you look at that design of their skull, they, you wouldn't actually look at it and be like, this is an eye socket, this is a brain case, and all that stuff. When you look at it, like the eye sockets, obviously you can tell. But like, that's another thing I was thinking of, was like, that's kind of what drove me to the whole alligator crocodile idea, was, the flat top of an alligator skull, just without the eyes and all that stuff on top, and more of just the heat sensors on top of it. That's kind of what I was thinking of.
But how are you going to like express heat sensors visually?
Right.
So I mean, things like that.
Like the thing is, like every animal that has a heat sensor, snakes for example, have eyes.
Tongue. Yeah.
They need their eyes to register the heat. That's how the thermal of viper eyes is, works. If they didn't have the heat sensors on their eye, or on their face, vipers specifically, like
Yeah.
rattlesnakes and stuff, it'd be a lot harder for them to see. They'd have to rely more on their tongue, their sense of smell, and the vibrations to hunt.
Right.
They're like, for like regular snakes, like garter snakes and stuff like that, like I don't know if they have pit sensors. I don't think they do.
Well, I mean, I would still look at the things that are tangible. Yeah.
Right.
How's it going to read to the audience?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can look at a snake and I don't know that it detects by heat.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's something that is learned. Yeah, I can look at a fish and, just through looking at it, you can see, okay, it swims forward, it opens its mouth, and, as it closes, the gills open. Okay, so it's pushing water through its mouth, through its gills, and that's how it's getting oxygen.
Right.
So, I mean, you can kind of deduce that from the functionality based on that creature. And I think that's what you should actually take a look at, is stepping back from the creature and saying, okay, what things visually can I go and show in order to get this creature to read right? What
Right.
things right off the bat, like, is it hunched over? Is it, standing upright? Is it, does it have any deformities on the legs, by default? Just very obvious visual things.
Yeah.
Because it didn't say anything about humpback. It didn't say anything about, like
The humpback thing, that is my idea, because to be honest, when it comes to animals that have big skulls or heavy skulls, for example, they tend to have that hunch. Crocodiles have it, crocodilians have it,
Yeah.
bears have it. Hyenas don't, but they do bend their head down a lot instead of having it upright most of the time. It's kind of why that's why they're kind of associated with that triangular back a little bit more. But there are animals that have that, and I figured with the long snout that would weigh its head down.
But you have to think.
But at
too,
the same time, with it, I kind of envision its head movement kind of similar to a shrieker, to where it's blind, so it's moving its head around just nonchalantly, just looking, even though it can't see,
But
that's
then-
kind of how I envision it moving.
But bears also walk on two legs.
True.
So, I mean, taking a bear into consideration, that totally blows that whole, proportional thing. So, I mean, not just trying to limit it to a humanoid-esque creature.
Right.
And I think that's something that if you break away and, okay, what can stand on two legs? Deers obviously can't. They have really good jumps, but they can't stand on two legs. Bears definitely can.
Kangaroos.
Meerkats.
Yeah, meerkats.
squirrels. I mean, you know, you could take it really any direction that you wanted and kind of go that direction of playing with different anatomy, because a lot of those that are able to stand or, you know, sit in an upright position, they have similar anatomy to a human.
Right. That's the thing, though. Like, a lot of animals on our planet have the same anatomy structure. Like, everything on our planet has the exact same amount of bones to an extent, you know, depending if they're elongated or short. Like, almost everything in the world has the exact same bones. And even from an alien standpoint, you know, because this technically would be considered an alien, because it's not, wouldn't technically be foreign, or it wouldn't technically be something that would naturally live here. You know, you would think this creature would come from another planet or from another dimension, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which most things in the SCP world tend to kind of happen like that. But the thing is, even as a creature designer, anytime you make anything alien, you are still referencing real world animals. Something that, like you said earlier, that the audience can register, like, oh, that kind of looks like a shark, that kind of looks like a bear, you know, that looks like a face on a creature that doesn't actually have eyes, you know. You know, we're referencing the Taute from Great Wall, you know, like their skull structure looks like a face, but it doesn't actually have eyes on the front of its face. Its eyes are on its shoulders. So, you know.
Yeah. I was just doing a quick search. Probably not a search that I really want to do, but I mean, you could also look at deep sea worms or something like that too. Deep sea crustaceans.
Yeah.
Kind of take ideas from that. Because like that one that was off Finding Nemo.
The anglerfish?
They had the light in front of it.
Yeah, the anglerfish.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that didn't even know that existed. So
that's the thing. A lot of people don't know a lot of the animals that exist within our.
Right. I mean, there's so many animals that we have no idea that they exist because nobody has discovered them yet.
Mm-hmm.
So you could take kind of something along those lines and, you know, go from there.
It's kind of why, like, that's kind of why the original author references viperfish. Viperfish are a type of deep sea predatory fish that has really elongated teeth, similar to an anglerfish. But the thing is, with a viperfish, its teeth are transparent. They're you can see through them, which makes sense because of it. For most animals that live in dark environments, they tend to lose, one, pigmentation, and two, some animals become translucent.
Yeah.
and that's one of the aspects of that particular animal. It's certain parts of its body are translucent, so the teeth in particular. Plus it also has the ability to have some bioluminescence on it too.
Right. Yeah, I'm learning more about things that I don't want to learn about. Gross. But yeah, I think, yeah, I've learned more in like the last 5 minutes than I really want to.
I will say this. I do agree with you on the body proportions thing, because you mentioned earlier in the stream about how when you think of cave dwelling type animals, you know, you think of more reptilian or snake-like type animals, salamanders, etc., stuff like that, that can move through these environments a little easier. And that's kind of why I'm keeping it kind of skinny. It's one of the reasons why I'm keeping it relatively skinny to an extent, to where it...
I might actually add another set of arms.
Yeah?
Yeah, something like
You forgot your
uh,
name. Don't let your spirit fade away. Amnesia.
That's a whole nother anatomy struggle as well.
but I mean, you know, if you went that direction of heading like I might even come down and then because if you added because then you'd be looking at an easier time, you know, because when I think of something in a cave, yeah, maybe even coming around, but, you know, kind of worm-like. But, yeah, and then have all the teeth around the edge. Yeah, that might be an option as well. Yeah, kind of like an anteater. But, yeah, that would give you kind of a mix with a centipede. And that way you could have it, you know, go over rocks and things of that nature really easy. Actually, that's interesting right there.
To which thing?
To what you have right now. The elongated bottom jaw. turn it sideways. Now take that front head off.
Top one?
Yeah.
Wrong one. Sure, there it is.
Just make sure to keep it all still straight so you can tell me all about it. 'Cause I'll be on my way back home.
That's interesting.
Take the time to be loved. Just wear your scars and don't speak. 'Cause I know you don't have the words, so I'll go slow and let it all work.
Because then you could take that and shrink that front jaw and have the jaw actually come up. Yeah, so it's more, trying to get my hand there. So it's more like the front of the head, the jaw, and it comes up over. So you get that where it comes over the top jaw. I think that would actually look pretty decent. And it would look unique.
Are you referring to like something like kind of like this? Where the bottom jaw is just like almost like an overbite?
Yeah, but if you took that top of the head off, move that to a different subtool.
Yeah, it's currently a separate subtool right now.
And then that is your character. And then take the bottom jaw and wrap that to where, you know, it's kind of like this. Yeah, so it would be off to the side. My hand doesn't bend that way. But so if you were looking at it with the top of the head here, then, you know, it would come up over, and that would make kind of an interesting look to it.
Okay, I need. So I just need to interpret this in my head here.
So, hang on. Let's see.
Is there any way you can sketch it? Because like that might actually give me a better visual of like what you're talking about. Because I'm thinking two separate things in my head here.
So basically, so right now, you know, you have coming up here. So instead of having it come out like that, what I'm saying is, you know, you have your scapula, you have the leg, whatever. And then if you come out,
Here. What would be?
You know, something like that.
It is an interesting idea.
Yeah, and then basically you just take that shape and and you could even add, you know, additional legs off there. You know, something of that nature. And again, I mean, that's just a basic idea. But I would think more like, yeah, having a longer tail. Yeah, because to me that shape's more interesting.
No, what am I trying to do here? Trying to think.
And you could even shrink up the teeth.
trying to think of how the mouth would close is the only issue that I'm having.
Well, I mean, it would close. Yeah, it would come up like that. Hinge point would be here. And when it closed, it would... it'd be something like that. You see it?
Yeah.
I mean, you could even bring these back. But again, I mean, it's kind of just playing with different ideas.
Right. This immediately makes me think of the viperfish themselves. Because they kind of have this kind of look to them. Or am I thinking of something else?
But see, you could even like take this area, you know, and you could follow that, give it a nice line. And you could even strip this part off. I mean, there's a whole different look just by removing that.
Right.
And you're still keeping, you know, like the eyes. Yeah, you could even set like the gills back here.
I'm actually thinking about removing I'm actually planning on removing the gill section anyway. It clashed with the character that I was doing.
But you're still keeping, like, you know, if you go with the straight nose like that, yeah, you're still keeping like all the eye sockets, or what would be eye sockets. Yeah, you're getting like some nice shapes. You know that with the you know, the jaw coming down and giving it kind of a I guess, almost a shark feel, then you're still getting something that's noticeable and something that people will be able to relate to. Yeah, it's not something that they don't know. Yeah, but at the same time, it's not something that they've seen before.
Yeah, because like that's one of the things. I can't remember who it was, but somebody on the stream mentioned my original design looking like the Taute from Great Wall. I was like, yeah, it kind of resembles that. I guess, you know.
But where have you seen this character?
This character particularly?
No,
the only
I mean,
version
like
of 939 that's out there is one. There's a few versions. There's the versions that were created for the SCP game, but the model was so bad. Like, beginner level model.
Well, I'm saying as far as like this character in particular. That I just drew.
Yeah.
Yeah, where have you seen something, you know, of that nature?
John Carter. Actually.
John Carter.
Springs to mind. Yeah, John Carter springs to mind.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, I'll show you. It's the creature. Let me find it right there. Think. This guy.
It's on a timer here. There's 19 seconds left.
It's like a six-legged bulldog. That's what it kind of reminds me of.
Maybe. Uh, 5 seconds left. I actually kind of like this character.
It's a cool design.
Okay.
Like that could be its own creature in its own right.
So you were saying what now?
I was saying that like the character you created, he kind of reminds me of if I can get a good image of him. Is this guy here, little bulldog thing?
I don't see it yet. Yeah, it's not popping up.
Really?
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I've seen something like that. I mean, it kind of reminds me of a hippo.
Yeah. Yeah, for the film, they literally modeled this guy off of like a bulldog, essentially. It was funny. He was a cool character. He was a cool character.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that gives you kind of a idea, you know, to base it off
Yeah.
of.
I don't know. Maybe I might need to do some sketching and see if I can figure some stuff out. Or do some visual planning for the stream. Look up some animal references and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't hurt. Yeah, like I said, I haven't sketched in quite a while, so.
Yeah, same. Like, I'm so rusty. I will say I like what I got, though. Like, I like the ideas that we're coming up with, though. That's for sure. I do like this pose. This is a pretty decent neutral pose for it. Like, chances are, like, in reality, I could always go in and mess with the back and push it up a little bit more so it's not so far back. Push the rib cage up. It actually starting to look a lot better, to be honest.
But yeah. Alright, well, I'm gonna go grab something to eat real quick.
Yeah, I need to grab some food for myself, too. It's not a 4-hour stream, but, you know, at least it's a stream nonetheless, you know.
Right. But yeah, it definitely wasn't a bad one at all.
No, not at all. Like, when it comes to creature design, like, a lot of it comes down to, you know, figuring out what it's going to look like, figuring out, like, the types of forms you want to use and stuff like that. You know, it's a lot of planning. It's a lot of figuring it out before even laying any groundwork down. And usually I do that. Like, I do a lot of pre-planning in my blockouts, but, you know, after a while of doing stuff, you're like, it's just not coming out, you know?
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, I think that's everybody who ever draws, you know, or comes up with characters or whatnot. You know, it takes time.
For sure. That's kind of why, like, with the plate beast that I'm doing, he's not that, he really isn't all that difficult, because a lot of that is, like, when you're working off a concept, all that planning is out the window, because it's already been done for you. You know, all that planning's been done, you just got to make it. And that's the advantage.
You can change it.
True. Yeah, you can change it.
You can make it your own.
That is true. But I just mean, like, the whole idea of like the whole idea of, like, you don't really need to be, like, this is what this character is going to look like. I need to have it look like this is my idea I'm going for, and you don't really need to do any of that. Somebody else already planned that for you. You just gotta, just go your route of creating it in that particular form. So,
right.
It's no different than working in the actual industry. It's no different.
Yeah.
Because the concept artist would have already planned out what the thing's going to look like. They already the studio heads already decided, like, this is what the character or the creature is going to look like that you're going to be creating. Here you go, make it.
Yep.
Like, I could totally see this thing and just taking this so many steps further.
Yeah.
Like, for me, like, what I would do for him is, like, for references for that, obviously I would probably look more like at gorillas, apes, because that's what my head is immediately thinking of, is gorillas and apes for anatomy. The secondary pair of arms, I probably would shrink and move them up closer to the torso. Mainly because that's generally what most, for anatomy purposes, that tends to work better. When you have six-legged, hexaped type animals or creature designs. So, like, if you look at a lot of the characters from Avatar, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Start with an A, that's why. From Avatar and God, what's another one? Goro is another good example. If you look at Goro's design for the newer Mortal Kombat, they moved his arms from being low, kind of in the middle of his body, up closer to where his chest, up into his chest. It made more sense for that, for the pectoral muscles to work in.
Right.
The front of the face kind of reminds me of like pretty much like a bulldog to an extent, because bulldogs have that short snout and the big jowl, the big jaw underneath the underbite. Like, I would immediately think like bulldog or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe more baboon instead of like gorilla. Baboon would make sense. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for me today. It was just talking ideas out is always a good thing sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's always a good idea.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah. All right, guys, that's going to be into the stream for me. I'm sure Peter's going to be into his stream here soon. So
yep.
We're going to head out. We're going to get some food. So thanks for joining us and just letting us kind of pretty much pre-plan and bullshit through this whole time, trying to figure this character out a little bit more. So I'll be streaming tomorrow, 2 p.m., hopefully, Eastern time. Probably going to be working more on either 939 or the Plate Beast, depending on what I'm feeling like. But, yeah. I will see you all tomorrow. Keep on creating, keep on having fun. I'll see you all later. Peace out.
All right, we will see you guys, and it was fun. I will catch you guys later on.